Alright, so I think I may have tripped over what could honestly be one of the cheapest, big, capable e-bikes you can buy in America right now. I'm talking about the Aipas M2 Pro Xterrain, and yeah, this thing is a whole lot of bike. It's a chunky mix of aluminum, copper, and lithium, and it's built very differently from the sleek, sporty e-bikes we're used to seeing. The first time you lay eyes on the M2 Pro Xterrain, it kind of stops you in your tracks. It's a lot. Let's just say elegance was not the top priority here. It breaks pretty much every visual rule of what a modern full-suspension e-mountain bike is supposed to look like. And yet, somehow, it still gets the job done. It's one of those designs that makes you raise an eyebrow, then slowly nod once you realize what it's actually meant for. Right away, the fat tires tell you exactly how this bike wants to be ridden. This is not a hop-around, throw-it-sideways kind of ride. Both wheels are meant to stay planted on the ground at all times. Fat tires like these are usually a gamble, especially on budget bikes, since blowouts are pretty common. If you've ever hung around a small bike shop, you've probably seen delivery riders lining up with flat, fat tires, and that's usually not a great sign. The Xterrain also goes all in on full suspension. Up front, you've got a squishy fork with 100 millimeters of travel, and out back there's a rear shock holding everything together. Don't expect big-name suspension parts here. It's all very no-name and very basic. The rear suspension setup is about as simple as it gets, with just a single pivot instead of a proper linkage. And yeah, it looks dated. Those odd reinforcements around the bottom bracket definitely don't help the bike win any beauty contests. That said, the frame does bring some practical perks. This thing is clearly built to haul. There's a rear rack ready for cargo, and up front, the head tube has a 4-bolt mounting point for even more carrying options. That's something we've seen on a lot of Chinese-designed frames, and it makes sense for a bike like this. Now, let's talk size and weight, because there's no hiding it. The M2 Pro Xterrain is bulky, and that massive down tube makes sure everyone knows it. Even with Aipas trying to keep things looking clean, this bike is still a brute. It tips the scales at around 90 pounds, so lifting it isn't exactly going to be your favorite activity. The upside is that the frame can handle a total load of up to 500 pounds, which is about 50 pounds more than most e-bikes in this category. To move all that weight, Aipas went big on the motor. You're getting a Bafang unit that can peak at a wild 1,800 watts and put out up to 110 Newton-meters of torque. According to Aipas, this motor is rated for an insanely long lifespan and can spin at some pretty eye-opening RPMs. With that kind of power, the Xterrain can hit a top speed of around 36 miles per hour, which definitely pushes it out of street-legal territory in most places. Let's just say this is more of a private property kind of ride. What's really surprising is the range. Under pedal assist, with an average speed of about 36 miles per hour, Aipas claims up to 40 miles of range, with a rider weighing around 176 pounds on flat ground. Dial things back, and the max range stretches all the way to 85 miles, which is honestly impressive for something this big and heavy. The rest of the setup is pretty much what you'd expect at this price point. You get a new headlight compared to older versions, a speed sensor, a throttle, and a basic display and cockpit. The drivetrain is a budget Shimano setup, which is standard fare for a lot of China-sourced e-bikes, and generally gets the job done without much fuss. But there's one thing here that really makes me nervous, and that's the brakes. At these speeds, and with this much weight, braking needs to be absolutely rock solid. Unfortunately, the Xterrain comes with mechanical disc brakes. At nearly 36 miles per hour, that's not exactly confidence-inspiring. Sure, there's motor cutoff when you brake, but I'd still strongly consider upgrading to hydraulic brakes if you plan to ride this thing hard. Now, here's the part that really grabs attention: the price. Aipas originally listed the Xterrain at around $2,200, but right now, you can find it selling for as little as $950. That's less than half of its original price, which definitely makes you wonder what's going on. And yet, the reviews tell a different story. On Aipas's own site, there are hundreds of 5-star reviews, a solid chunk of 4-star ones, and very few 1-star ratings. New reviews keep popping up too, with recent buyers still giving it high marks. So yeah, it's weird. It's chunky, and it has some clear compromises. But for under $1,000, the Aipas M2 Pro Xterrain is one of those e-bikes that really makes you stop and think.